Hi, and welcome back to Just Another Stitch. For those that don't know me, my name is Connie, and this is part 2 of the Easter Gnome Scarf. If you happen to have missed the first video, don't worry. I will put that link in the description box down below for y'all. So we are going to get started on the Gnome Nose. Okay, for the Gnome Nose, you will need a 4mm crochet hook, off-white yarn, and a stitch marker to mark the beginning of the round. And the way we start off with a magic ring. And the way you do a magic ring is you have your yarn like this, the end piece is here. You take the yarn that's connected to your skein and make a circle like this. See, the end piece is under, the yarn connected to the skein of yarn is on top. Then I take my fingers and pinch it right here. Then you take what's connected to the skein and pass it under, and you just pull it over like this. And you stick your crochet hook in. And that's all there is to making a magic ring. All right, you want to chain 1. And I'm going to stick my stitch marker here. This is to mark the beginning of the round. All right, so we're going to do 15 single crochet stitches into the magic ring. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just keep doing your single crochet stitches until you have 15, and we'll meet back up there. You should have 15 single crochet stitches into the magic ring. Okay, and all your little V's should be on the outside. And make sure it doesn't get twisted. Take your end piece and pull. And you want to pull tight. All right. Now I'm going to move my stitch marker and move it to the loop connected to the crochet hook. And now I'm going to go around into every stitch and single crochet into every stitch around. So there's 1. Go into that second stitch. 2. The third stitch. 3. And just keep single crocheting around, and you'll still have your 15 single crochet stitches. And we'll meet back up right before you get to the stitch with the stitch marker. Okay, you should have your 15 stitches going around, and I'm going to give that center a pull again with that end piece. All right. So now, take your stitch marker out, and we're going to just repeat what we just did for round 2. And we're going to do 3 more rounds where you just single crochet in each stitch. So this is round 3. And after you do round 3, you'll do 2 more rounds where you have a total of 5 rounds for the gnome nose. And just keep going around, and we'll meet back up after you finished round 5. Okay, we have just finished round 5. So we're going to start round 6. Let's move our stitch marker. And for this round, we're going to do 1 single crochet. Over the next 2 stitches, we're going to do single crochet 2 together. And this is how you do it. You go in like you would a single crochet stitch, yarn over, pull through that base. You have 2 loops on your hook. Now you go into the next stitch, yarn over, go through that single crochet stitch. You have 3 loops left. Yarn over, go through all 3. And you're just going to keep repeating where the next stitch you do a single crochet. Then over the next 2 stitches is the single crochet 2 together. You go in this 1 stitch, yarn over, pull through the base, go into that next single crochet stitch, yarn over, go through the base, 3 loops left, yarn over, go through all 3. All right, next stitch is single crochet. Now we're gonna single crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches. So go through the next stitch, yarn over, pull through the base, go into that next stitch, yarn over, go through the base, 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3. All right, single crochet into the next stitch. All right, single crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches. Single crochet into the next. Single crochet 2 together over the last 2 stitches. All right, and now we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch right here where the stitch marker is. We're slip stitching into it. And now you want to leave a long enough tail to sew the nose to the scarf. So let's cut our yarn and just finish pulling through to fasten off. All right, let's take the stitch marker out. Now we want to stuff the nose, and I'm going to use that little bit of the end piece. You can either use polyfill or scrap yarn. I don't have any polyfill, so I'm just going to use some scrap yarn. Okay. So I'm just going to stuff it in. You don't need a whole lot. This will probably be enough here that I used. All right. And you just stuff it. All right, so next we're going to work on the rabbit ears. And you will need to make 2 rabbit ears. Okay, so now we're going to get started on the bunny ears. And you're going to need 2 ears. So we need pink yarn and gray yarn. You're going to need a 5mm crochet hook and a stitch marker to mark the beginning of your round. All right, so we're going to make a magic ring again. And you just put your yarn like this. You see, this is what's connected to the skein. It lays on top. Pinch right here. Take your yarn, connect it to the skein, and just pull it through the loop like that. Insert your crochet hook, and we're gonna chain 1. All right, and I'm gonna grab my stitch marker and just attach it to the loop that's on your crochet hook. All right, so we're gonna do 6 single crochet stitches into the magic loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so again, let's make sure all our V's are on the outside, and we're gonna pull the end piece and tighten our ring. All right, so for round 2, we're going to do 2 single crochet stitches into each one of the first 3 stitches. All right, and I just moved my stitch marker to mark the beginning of the round here. All right, go through that first stitch, 1. Now the second single crochet stitch in that same stitch, 2. Now we're going to go into the second single crochet stitch, 2 single crochets there, 1 and 2. All right, the third stitch, we're doing 2 single crochets into that same stitch, 1 and 2. All right, the next stitch we're only going to do 1 single crochet in, so just 1 here. All right, now for the next 3 stitches it will be the next 2 stitches it's going to be 2 single crochet stitches in each one. All right, so 1 and 2. And then the final stitch will be 2 single crochet stitches. 1 and 2. All right, so for round 3, oh, I forgot to say, you now have 11 single crochet stitches. You end round 2 with 11 single crochet stitches. So for round 3, you're just going to single crochet all the way around. And you will again end with 11 single crochet stitches. So 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch around. And we'll meet back up when you finish your 11 stitches. And you'll be right before the stitch right before this the stitch marker. That's your last stitch of the round. Okay, actually we're going to stop before we do that last stitch. So that last stitch we're doing together, which we're doing right now. All right, so for this, we start off doing our single crochet. You leave your 2 loops on, and we're cutting our yarn because we will be incorporating the gray. So leave a long enough tail to weave in your ends. I cannot talk. And now we grab our gray yarn, and we're going to finish this stitch. All right, we're moving our stitch marker again. So for round 4, the first 4 stitches, we're going to do 1 half double crochet stitch into. So 1, let me pull that tighter. All right, 1. Oops, I forgot to yarn over. Okay. 2. 3. And 4. All right. The next stitch we're going to do a double crochet into. All right. The next stitch we're going to work 3 treble crochet stitches all into that same stitch. There's the first treble. Here's the second, and then the third. And all 3 of them are in the same stitch. Okay. So now we're going to double crochet into the next stitch. And the next 4 stitches we're going to half double crochet into. 1, 2, 3, and that last one. All right, we just finished round 4, and now we're going to start round 5. Okay, so let's move our stitch marker again. And for round 5, we're going to do a half double crochet stitch into each one of the first 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, now we're going to do a double crochet stitch into the next stitch. All right, and then the next stitch, we're going to do 3 treble crochet stitches into that same stitch. That's 1, 2, and then that third one, and this is all in the same stitch. All right, now we're going to double crochet into that next stitch. And the next 5 stitches we're going to half double crochet into. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, we just finished round 5. Okay, so for round 6, you want to move your stitch marker, and we're going to half double crochet into the first 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you want to double crochet into that next stitch. All right, and the next stitch, we're going to do 3 treble crochet stitches all into the same stitch. So 3 trebles. There's the first one. Here's the second. And here's the third. All right, the next stitch is a double crochet stitch. Okay, and then the next 5, the next 6 stitches, we're going to half double crochet. It's 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we just finished round 6. Okay, so for round 7, let's move our stitch marker. And in the first 8 stitches, we are going to do a slip stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, 7, and 8. All right, in the next stitch, we're gonna do 3 treble crochet stitches into. That's your first one. And here's the second one into that same stitch. And then here's your third one into that same stitch. Okay, all right, we're gonna slip stitch into the next 8 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, and now we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch of the previous round. All right, and we're going to fasten off, leave a long enough tail to weave in your end, cut your yarn. All right, and you just finish feeding the stitch through since we're fastening off. All right, so I'm going to remove my stitch marker, and we're going to stuff the ear just a little. I'm going to use scrap yarn again. Do a little more. All right, and you have finished your ear, and you want to make 2 ears. You need 2 ears. So we'll meet back up after you finish your 2 ears. Okay, now we're going to make the daisies, and we're going to be making 3 daisies. So you'll need yellow yarn, white yarn, 5mm crochet hook, and possibly a stitch marker, but you really don't need the stitch marker because when we start round 2, we'll be changing colors. So it's going to be obvious. All right, make your magic ring like what I just did. Insert your crochet hook, chain 1. All right, I'm putting my stitch marker. All right, we're doing 6 single crochet stitches into the magic ring. But on that 6th one, we're changing colors on that last step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, start the 6th one. But remember, don't finish your stitch. Leave 2 loops and you'll cut your yellow yarn. I already cut mine. All right. I'm going to go ahead and tighten my magic ring now. All right, I'm grabbing my white yarn and we're going to finish that stitch. All right, now we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet stitch right here where my stitch marker is. And we're going to slip. All right. And if you use the slip marker, the stitch marker, you can now take it out. You won't need it after this. And really, you don't need it at all. I just have a habit when I do the magic ring of using a stitch marker. Okay. So we slip stitched into that first yellow stitch. We're going to start making the petals. So we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. The second chain from the hook, we're going to single crochet stitch into. All right. The next chain, we're going to half double crochet. And then the next chain is a half double crochet. All right. So we just did 1 single crochet, then a half double, then another half double. All right. So now we want to go into the second yellow stitch and do a slip stitch. All right. And we're basically going to just keep repeating what we just did. You're going to want to have 6 petals when you're done. So we chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Single crochet into that second chain from the hook. And now half double crochet into the into the next chain. All right. And then another half double into the next chain. Now we slip stitch into that next yellow stitch. All right, and we chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Single crochet into that second chain from the hook. Half double crochet into the next chain. And then half double crochet into the next chain. And now we're going to slip stitch into the next yellow stitch. Okay. So again, we chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet into that second chain from the hook. Half double crochet into the next chain. and half double crochet into the next chain. And then you slip stitch into the next yellow stitch. Okay, now we're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook, half double crochet into the next chain, and half double crochet into the next chain. And then we slip stitch into the next yellow stitch. All right, we're on the last petal now. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Single crochet into the second chain from the hook, half double crochet into the next chain, and then half double crochet into the next chain. Okay, and now we want to slip stitch into that first stitch here. Okay, and you want to leave a long enough tail so you can sew your flower onto the scarf. And I usually like to leave more than enough. And you just fasten off, just continue pulling the yarn through. And we have finished our daisy. And you're going to want 3 of these. So make sure you make 3 and we'll meet back up there. Okay, now we're going to make the leaves. You're going to be making 6 leaves. You need dark green yarn, 5mm crochet hook, and we are going to chain 7. So let's do a slip stitch, insert your hook, and let's chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, I'm going to go ahead and insert a stitch marker into that last chain, the one furthest from the hook. Okay. So, we're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook. Now we're going to half double crochet into the next chain. Then we're going to double crochet into the next 2 chains. So 1 double crochet in this chain. And then 1 double crochet into the next. All right, the next chain, we're going to do a half double crochet. Okay, in that last chain, we're going to work 4 single crochet stitches into. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to pull on the end piece because it's loose. All right. So now we're going to work on the other side of the chain, the opposite side. Okay, so for the first chain, let me get that. For the first chain, we are going to do a single crochet stitch. All right, the next chain, we're going to work a half double crochet. The next chain, we're going to work a double crochet. The next chain is another double crochet stitch. Then the next chain will work a half double. All right, and that bottom chain, we're going to work 2 single crochet stitches into. Okay. And now we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. And then the next chain. Okay. And then we're going to slip stitch where that chain meets. Into the stitch. Okay. And then you want to leave a long enough tail to sew on your leaf. And you can just pull that stitch through because we're fastening off. And you have made your leaf. And remember, you're going to need 6 of these leaves made. Okay, now we're going to work on the braids for the gnome part of this scarf. So you want to take your yellow yarn, cut 9 strands, and you want them about 20 inches long. It doesn't have to be exact. And you kind of want to have them lined up about the best you can. Don't worry if it's not quite even. We will trim the ends. All right. So you want to take your crochet hook and insert it about here. Right where it connects to the blue. Take your yarn and just pull it through like this. Okay, you see how it is? All right, next you want to take your crochet hook and right about here where that blue and gray connects, put your hook like this and feed that yarn back through. like this. You see how it is? That way it's secure in place. And that's what it looks like in the back. All right, and try to get it about as even as you can. It's not going to be perfect. All right. And you want to divide it up in 6 strand sections. You want 3 sections of 6 strands. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's your first section. There's 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, actually, hold up. Yeah, that's good. All right. So you see, 3 sections, each has 6 strands. And then we just start braiding. Okay. Okay, you want to grab a strand of pink yarn about like this, enough to tie a bow around the braid. All right. And now I'm gonna cut the end pieces of the bow. And you can also trim. I don't want to stand right. Okay. And if you need to trim the yellow yarn, you can trim that. And just trim the ends. All right, now we're going to work on the other side. For this side, I would do about 15 inches for your yarn strand. And again, we're working with yellow and we're doing 9 strands. All right. I'm going to insert right about here. So you see where the green and the blue connect like this? That's about where you want it. And let's try to get this in. Let me wrap it. That might make it easier. Yeah. All right. And you pull it through like that. You see how I have it? All right. Now I'm going to go about right here. And I'm going to pull it back through. Let's go this way with the hook. You see how I have it? And I'm pulling it back through. All right, and you see how it is? And again, that's what it looks like on the back. And you want to get your yarn strands about even. They're not going to be perfect. And we, again, divide it up into 6 strands. You want 3 sections of 6 strands. 2, 3. Like this. All right, and now we're going to start our braid. And just keep on braiding. All right, we're going to stop about here. And again, you want another piece of pink yarn, just long enough to tie a bow. All right, and now I'm going to cut my pink strands. All right, and now I'm going to trim my yellow yarn. And you want it to fall about the end of the scarf. And we have a visitor that might be coming. Y'all probably just heard Buddy meow. He wants to help. All right. I'm going to trim just a tad bit more off. It's a little long. Okay, that should be good. And I'm going to trim my pink bow a little bit more. All right, and we have the braids attached. Okay, now we are going to sew the bunny ears on. So I'm going to go ahead and pin the ears kind of in place the best I can. About like that. And this just helps hold it in place while you're sewing the pieces on. Okay. Hopefully that's good enough. Okay, you want to thread your darning needle. And we're going to start sewing the first ear in place. All right. You just go around sewing it on. And I go in and out of the stitches along the edge. And you don't want to leave too big of a gap when you're sewing on. So don't skip stitches, at least not in the front view. You can get away with it if you skip in the back. But you see what I'm doing? I'm just sewing it on. Let me move my pen out my way. Hold up, I'm at an awkward angle. Okay, where am I? I'm going to take my other pen out now. Okay, let me turn it. You kind of want it to be like flat, like you see how I'm doing the piece. Oops, I'm not. All right. And you just keep going around. And we're getting close to finishing this ear. Okay. I'm just going to kind of flatten it out. And then we are going to weave it in the back, that end piece. And we cut that yarn. All right, now we're going to start sewing the second ear on. You're going to thread your darning needle again. Okay, where? And you just go through the stitches. Come on. All right, let me kind of shift this. And like I say, you just go all the way around, just like we did with the other ear. Take my pin out. And just keep going around and sew this ear on. And we'll meet back up once you're close to the end of the ear. Okay. We are almost done sewing the ear. Let's do just a couple of more stitches. All right. All right. So now we're going to weave in the end. Just do it like that. All right, and let's cut our yarn. All right, next we are going to sew on the gnome nose. Okay, for the gnome nose, you want to kind of align it right where that blue and gray meet. That's where you want that in. And you want it angled with the corner here. Like that, okay? And I'm just going to kind of pin it down to try to help keep it in place. Another pin. Okay. And again, we are going to thread our darning needle. If it wants to cooperate. All right, and you just start attaching the nose. You just keep going around to attach it. And isn't it starting to look like a gnome? Especially now that the nose is almost attached. Oops, my stuffing's coming out here. We are almost finished the nose. Okay. And now let's weave in the end in the back. Oops. Okay, and let's cut our yarn. Okay, now you want to weave in the ends on all your leaves. So you're going to take all 6 of your leaves and weave in those in that short end, not the long end, because you need that end to sew your leaves onto the scarf. Okay. And just cut that end piece. And you see you still have the long end. So do this for all 6 of your leaves. And also your daisies. You want to weave in the short ends, the yellow 2 and the short white end piece. Weave those in. And you want to do this for all 3 of your flowers. And remember, leave the long tail for sewing onto your scarf. Okay, let's cut. Oops. And let's weave in this tail. And this doesn't have to be perfect because this is the back of your work. No one's going to see it. You just want to make sure your stitches don't come undone. All right. And let's do that short white tail. Oops, what did I do? Okay, it just got caught on my pedal. Oops. All right. All right, that's good enough. I'll cut it here. Okay. And like I said, remember you need your long tail to sew on. And do this for all of your daisies, all 3. Okay, for the leaves and flowers, we're going to position it about like this. So I'm going to start pinning the leaves on. And hopefully I don't lose the position that I have. And you might want to play around with your positioning and see which position you like it in the best. But I'm liking it like this. Let me grab some more pins. Okay. And we're going to start with the leaves. And then I'll pin down the flowers after we sew on the leaves. And basically we do what we've been doing. Oops, I think I got this yarn caught underneath. Yep. Let's get this repinned. All right. I think this is a little too long. I'm going to cut my yarn. I always tend to have more yarn than I need. All right, let's thread our needle. And start sewing on. And just keep going around the leaf. I'm going to take my pin out now. It should be secure enough. And if you're like me, you're not the biggest fan of sewing stuff together. I do it, but it's part of the process that I dread. But once we get this finished, you'll be happy that you did this. Okay, just a little more. Okay, and I'm going to weave in the end. Okay, and let's cut our yarn. And just finish sewing the other leaves on, and we'll meet back up once you have all your leaves sewn on. Okay, we now have all the leaves sewn on. So now we want to sew on our flowers. So put the first one like that and pin it down. And the second one about like this. Okay, and for the third flower, we're going to go with about right here. Okay, and let's grab our darning needle, and we're going to start sewing the flowers on. Let's see, let me cut this. My pen is sticking to my scissors. Let me go with about right here. All right. Let's start sewing. Where was I? And I think I'm getting tangled up here. Yep. Okay. I got it untangled from the back. Okay, so let's just continue. Come on. All right. All right. Let's get that second petal. I have to admit, it's quite awkward to sew pieces on a tutorial. I've never done this before. It's a lot easier to do this off camera. All right. And you just keep stitching the flower on. And I'm going to take the pin out. It should be secure enough now. Sorry if I just shook the camera. Okay. And I'm just going to keep on. By this point, you should be pretty comfortable with sewing pieces on. Come on. Buddy wants to help again. Hold up. Hopefully Buddy is situated. He keeps wanting to help me. That is cats for you. All right. All right, and let's weave in our ends. All right, and let's cut our yarn. Okay, and just sew on the other two flowers, and we'll meet back up once you have those sewn on. Okay, we have now finished the first side of the scarf. Now, one option that you can do with this scarf is you could actually do the same exact thing on the other side of the scarf. But if you do that, I would advise to do your bottom corner in gray and then the 4-row section in blue on both sides, if you choose to do that. But tomorrow, we will do the other side of the scarf, which will have a chick and some Easter eggs on it. So stay tuned tomorrow for part 3, the final part of the Easter Gnome Scarf tutorial. So see y'all then. Bye, everyone.